All right, welcome back to Just the Sip. This week,
Howdy,
Dode,
folks.
have a beer. It's Carlyle Lake Lager by the Bottling Company, and Bryce has him some Scotch. I'm jealous. What
Yeah, I
exactly is it?
already consumed the beer this evening, so had to go straight to the scotch because, well, it's the good stuff.
Yeah, but you've got Dewars. What type though?
This is the Dewars 12 year. It's the blue label. Obviously, you can tell by the blue box. Their standard white label is what you'll see on rail at most places or at your typical Southwest Airlines flight. Um, so yeah, the 12 label, little bit different, obviously aged longer, but a bit of a different blended pattern. I'll get into that later.
All
So
right.
that's what we've got.
Drop my bottle opener. Okay, so I'm gonna crack this open. The interesting thing about this uh, Excel bottling company, they're from Breeze, Breese, Illinois, about 40 miles outside of St. Louis, across the river over into Illinois. Um, and this beer, I went ahead, I gave it a really heavy pour. I didn't really go for the angle or anything, just because what I read online about it is it pours with barely any head and just dissipates right away. And I mean, it has this sort of soda-like look to it, and very almost like an odd, like just gigantic bubbles everywhere. I don't know if kind of see you can see those bubbles. They're huge. Normally, you see a lot smaller bubbles. This company, Excel Bottling, they also produce sodas. So I don't know if there's a connection there with how they carbonate their beers. It's supposed to be the other interesting thing. It's a microbrew, but it's also proudly telling you on the label that it's an adjunct lager with barley and corn.
Huh.
And it's got the corn note to it. I will say this: it was on sale for $6.99 for a six pack, so they're not charging a lot for it. I think they realize the product they're selling. But yeah, the head's gone now. It's dead. It's half a finger thick at the edge, a bubble thick in the middle of it. This awesome golden color. I mean, it looks like beer. Um, Lots of carbonation, and it's got a light sweet malt and corn and no real hops on the nose. Almost a bit of that wet paper scent that a lot of these adjunct lagers have. And
A paper scent.
yeah, like a wet paper. It's something I've heard a couple people talk about, and or like a wet cardboard thing.
Huh.
And it really like it's an odd thing to say, but it really does like there's this off note that sometimes I pick up. I didn't quite know how to describe it, and that's it. For overall, it's given a 31 on Rate Beer, and it wasn't even rated on Beer Advocate. But for the style, they give it a 99, which we're talking about American Adjunct Lager, Pale Lager, which normally rates really low. So yeah, that is what it is. But I guess I'll get a taste now. Okay, yeah, it's definitely you feel the lots of carbonation in there. Definitely get the corn, a little kind of sour note. Whatever hops they're using are low in flavor. And I mean, it's not supposed to have a whole lot of flavor, but it's just I don't know if the little sourness is a hop thing or what. I don't know. It's an interesting beer, but for this style, I would rather have almost less flavor and just it's just weird. I don't know. I'm gonna give it like a 75. If it was really hot outside, like I had one of these, did like a river stream cleanup this past weekend, volunteer my time every now and then, and had one of these after that. Beautiful day. It was nice. Um, But yeah, it's a 75. Like it's I like mineral water, and this just seems like a kind of funky mineral water almost. You know, if they have it for $6 a six pack or $7 a six pack, try it out. But if it's $7 and a penny, don't, before tax, don't even bother with it. So tell us about the Dewars 12, man.
Okay, so again, this is the blue label. The traditional, most common that you'll see is the white label. It's a 10-year, aged and blended a little differently. So I've got the full presentation here for you. I'll remove the glass a little bit.
And now Dewars, unlike a lot of other, he's mentioned blends. This is a blended whiskey, correct? Compared to
so
single malt.
a lot of the scotches we've talked about already. So the Glenmorangie, for instance, one of my personal favorites, is a single malt versus a blended, simply meaning they blend a few different Scotch whiskeys together that all accomplish different things as far as the flavor is concerned in order to reach a final goal. Blended.
Yeah, which is the same way that we do bourbon whiskey here in America. A lot of people don't realize that
it's blended.
It's blended, unless it specifically mentions that it's not.
Yeah, or for instance, or it may be different casks, but put together with the same intention, still again considered a blended. Single malt only means that they pull it all from the same, cask, from the same oak aging device, and then any leftover they either get rid of or blend in something else to make their own blended versions. But anywho, Dewars is an intentionally blended Scotch. Obviously, you can see I've had this for a week, and that's all that's left. So initial intelligence would tell you that I like it, and I do. I like to pour it over rocks. It's just my personal choice. The frozen water, obviously ice, opens up a lot of the flavors and gives you a little bit of a different kind of feel to it. So there's three flavor intents when they put a Dewars 12 together. There's a honey note that they want you to have, kind of a warm, buttery feeling that they put into the honey cask that goes into this. There's a bit of a fruity aspect of it, which is funny because they describe it with a wisp of vanilla, which, when I think of fruit, I think of orange or I think of apple or something like that, but they put vanilla in their fruity. And then obviously with a lot of standard scotches, they try to get like a nice malted, caramely oak feel to it. So that's kind of what they're going for. Now,
do they hit it?
That's the fun part. If you take a good slow sip and let it sink in, you get the oak right away. You get the oak really richly, and it's great oak flavor. You can catch a trace of vanilla, depending on what you're doing with the Scotch as far as consumption is concerned. You can get a little bit more of it. If you go without the ice, if you take it neat, you can draw out a little bit more of that vanilla flavor. It's going to bite you a little more harshly because you don't have the water to kind of kill a little bit of the alcohol note of obviously the fact that it's 40% ABV. So it's 80 proof, but you do get still some of that vanilla flavor a little bit more if you take it neat. As for the rest of the quote unquote fruity aspects of it, you don't really get any other fruit other than, again, that potential vanilla tone to it. And then lastly, the honey, it does finish sweetly. You do get a sweet note to it. I wouldn't call it honey, but
so more of like a light brown sugary kind of thing.
Yeah, I
maybe,
mean,
or even just sugar.
yeah, I mean, yeah, like a sugary. I mean, if you took honey, watered it down, and added some nice sugar to it, kind of that sort of thing. Again, just enough to let you know that maybe that's where they were going with it. I will say this though, a lot of the places I've seen it, it only goes for a good $30 to $35 a bottle, um, which is about same asking price as Glenlivet,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
which is kind of par for course as far as standard Scotch, where it's very peaty, which we didn't. Obviously, this is not very peaty at all, but it's a peaty oaky Scotch, which again is more par for course. So if you like a little bit more airy Scotch, a little something that tastes more open and a little bit sweeter, for the same price, this is something that you can get.
So this
Um,
might be easier to drink.
this would be a little bit easier to drink if you're getting into Scotch for the first time. My recommendation for new Scotch drinkers that want to get into it but don't like the harshness of the Scotches themselves would be a Glenmorangie, would be a Chivas, something more along those lines to get yourself more acclimated. If you like smoky barbecue and you want to get into Scotches, I would recommend more of a Lafroig, which that's another fantastic Scotch that I will get into on a future episode of Just the Sip, because it's quite frankly one of my top three favorite beverages of all time. But as far as scotches go, I mean, this is like I said, it's a $30 to $35 a bottle Scotch, so it's on the medium to low end as far as price point is concerned. And for where it is on the price point, this has got to be one of the top five out there. You can get white label for a lot cheaper on an extremely low price point, and it still does okay. And it's one of the top three for the price point where the white label is. But if you can,
Because there's only three in the price point for where the white label is.
yeah, well, that's true for the
What else are you
25
gonna
to
buy? Cutty Sark?
for the $20 to $30
Mm.
price label. There are about six different scotches I've seen for that price label, and Dewar's white label is probably at minimum third place, probably more second or first in that price point.
Yeah.
However, you
Is it
get
what?
into
It's like them and Johnny.
See, and I'm not even a huge proponent of Johnny, because quite
Yeah.
frankly, they're just more like, hey, we're gonna let you taste the bite, and then whatever other undertones you're
Hmm.
lucky enough to
Completely
taste,
agree.
enjoy it. But the blue label, I mean, they're moving into the price point again, 30 to 35, with a lot of the heavy hitters, the standard scotches, um, the low end Glenfiddich, the standard Glenlivet, Glenmorangie. So they're moving into the price range with a lot of the really well crafted scotches, and quite frankly, they do a good job staying right alongside those. And if again, single malt is apparently the best, but in all reality, Dewar's 12 is a great alternative as far as blendeds are concerned, and they do a fantastic job. One of the top five scotches within that mid-range level, and quite frankly, one of the best I've had since the Glenmorangie
All
within
right.
the last couple
Yeah.
months.
I might have to try that out sometime. Just to get a bottle for more everyday. Maybe not every day, but you know, everyday drinking, so to say.
Well, it's been over a week since I've had, or it's been over a week since I haven't had a glass of this, simply because it is that good. So,
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for the Scotch review there, bud. And I will have some more beer, Scotch, liquor, what have you, in coming episodes. So we'll catch you around here in
go Doers, love it.
yeah, and some more episodes of Just a Sip, as well as some more Sports Report Weekly. See ya. And Stop.